Hello everyone, welcome to Playwright Lecture 3. In this lecture we will talk about interactions like clicking, typing, and pressing. Before we do that, I want to quickly go over exercise 1 where I talked about test the title of the Facebook login page. So that's what we're gonna do quickly first before we look at interactions. So let's first look at the test scenario here. So you're gonna first create a new file for your test case. Remember, your exercise is Facebook title test. So I'm gonna go to my Playwright, and under tests I'm gonna create a new file, and let's call this Facebook page.spec.ts. Okay, done. What we will do is we're going to copy the steps for the first test from the first test. Let me just change the language. So I'm just copy everything from the first test that we did. And just paste it in my new file. There you go. Now let's see what are the changes you are going to make. So first thing is you're going to change the URL to facebook.com. So and then I will check the title of the Facebook login page. So what we can do is we can just go and search for Facebook login page, and that should be the one. There you go. So I'm gonna just use this link, just copy this link, and instead of having google.com, I'm gonna just change this to facebook.com. Okay, and let's see what other changes that we are making here. Then I need to check the title of that page. So how do I check the title of this page? I can inspect this page, and I am interested to look at the head tag. So let's expand that, and if I look this carefully, you can see that here is the title ID, which is log into Facebook. I'm going to copy it from there, double click on it, and then copy it, because this is what we are expecting to see. Okay, so I just copied it, and then I'm going to copy the title and paste it in my code. Remember, we can use the full title with the quotation marks, or if you want to do a partial title match, you can do that with slashes. So I'm going to come here and change this to the title that I just copied. So this is the title. Remember, exact match, we are using the quotation marks. Okay, so that should work. Now let's run this. I'm not going to change anything else. So in order to run this, if you guys remember, you have to write the command npx playwright test. What you want to test, that is in the tests folder. And what's the name of that file? The name of the file is facebook-page.spec.ts. I'm gonna do in headed mode. So that should launch the browsers, and you can see that mine says running 3 tests using 2 workers. Depending on your computers, you may see more workers or less workers. And you can see that it quickly launched and closed. Now going to the next browser, closed. Firefox is done. The last one is going to look at the WebKit, and you can see that it's going there and completed. Okay, So that's pretty much it about that exercise. I hope that makes sense. Now let's start with our next topic. So here is the test scenario that we're gonna do now. So let's create a new test file first, google search.spec.ts. So I'm gonna just copy this from here and go to my Playwright, and under tests I'm gonna create a new file and use that name. So that's my file, google-search.spec.ts. Again, I'm gonna just copy and paste the code. Either I can copy it from Facebook or the first test. Let's copy it from actually from the first test, since this has google.com already. Copy it and paste it right here. And one thing I'm gonna change is this test. You can see that it says has title, but I don't want to do that title here. I'm gonna do search test, for example. Okay, so I'm just changing the title of that test to search test. We are still going to the google.com, so I'm not going to change it. I'm going to delete these comments. We don't need them. Okay, so now let's look at the scenario. So we will visit google.com, but we will not test the title this time. So I'm not going to test the title. So I'm going to just disable that code by adding double slashes. So this will disable that title of the page test. What we're gonna do instead, we want to search something on Google using Playwright. Let's say we want to search today's weather, so we will search today's weather, but now you have to think carefully that how you're actually doing that search. What are some actions that you would do to search today's weather? So here are the 3 actions that you will do. You're gonna click the search field, or you can say the search box. Let's actually use the term search box. And type on the search box and then press the enter key. So basically what you're trying to do here, I'm gonna go to google.com instead. Let's close this from here. So this is our field. This is the search box, right? So when you come to this page, the first thing you want to do is gonna click on this field. So you're gonna click on here and then do some searches. Okay. So what we want to search is we want to search weather. So I'm going to do weather. And I press the enter key in order to bring that result. Okay. So this is what we're doing here. So let's create a new test, which we did already. So what are some actions that we're doing? There are 3 actions. So one is click the search box, type on the search box, and press the enter button. So there are 3 actions that we are doing. So that means in my Playwright code I have to perform these 3 actions. Okay, so let's look at that one by one. So before we click the search box, there is one important thing that we need to know, is called locator. So what is a locator? A locator represents a way to find elements on a page. So remember, you have to tell your your Playwright what you're interacting with. So since you want to click on the search box, you have to tell your Playwright that, hey, I want to click on the search box. So Playwright needs something, or Playwright needs to know, okay, how do I identify the search box? Because there are many items on this search page, right? There is about link, there is a store link. So you have to tell Playwright, okay, this is where I want to click. So this is done by using the technique locator. And right now we're going to look at the locator technique, which is by title. Okay, so let's see how that works. So again, a locator represents a way to find elements on a page. So when I say an element, so these are all different type of elements we have on this page. Okay, you can see advertising, business, how search works. These are all different elements on this page. Out of all these elements, we are only interested to click on that search box. So that is done by using the locator. So let's try to understand how do we locate the search field using Playwright, or let's use the term search box. Okay, so first what we're gonna do is we're gonna inspect that field. Okay, so if I click on that, you can see that this is the container that represents the search box. Okay, now we need to understand a few things here. So when we look at that container, the first thing you need to understand is the tag name. So the input is working as a tag name. Let me annotate this so that it's easy to understand. So again, the input is the tag name. Then we have a class, which is your attribute. So the class that you're seeing, this is called an attribute. And whatever you see class equal, this is the value. So again, there are three things that you need to remember. One is the tag name, another is the attribute, and then another is the value. So tag name, you can see that here. So this is what it looks like, tag name. Then the next thing, we have an attribute and we have a value. So to find the search box, we will use the get by title locator. What is that, the get by locator? This is going to be a locator, and it locates an element by its title attribute. So you're going to see if there is a title attribute in that container of code. So if you look at here carefully, you will see that there is an attribute called title. Remember, after the tag name, there are multiple attributes and values. So for example, there is one with class. There is another with like max length. There is one with the name, type. So there are a lot of them. The one we are interested in is the title. What's the title? The title is search. So that's what you're going to use to locate that search box using Playwright. Okay, so again, this is called get by title locator. So let's use that and find that search box. Okay, after we find the locator, then we will perform the actions: click, type, and press. First, let's use that locator. So remember, we already found the locator by title. So, but how do we write that in Playwright? So as I said, we're going to use get by title locator. So let's go back to my code. So what we can do is we can create a variable and save it in there. So I'm going to say constant, and let's call this search box. So now what we are going to do is we are going to find that element using get by title attribute. So page dot, you can see that if you do page dot get, you can see there is an option called get by title. So for now we are interested only on this one, get by title. So what's the title? The title is search. Oops, it went to that line. So now Playwright knows that, okay, I will find that search box using this locator, get by title. And what's the title? The title is search. Now after finding the search box, remember we already found the search box using the title. what are you going to do now? We're now going to click on that search box. So how do we click on a web element? We do the click method to click on that element. So we already created an element called search box. So what you're going to do is we're going to do search box dot click. So this is the method that is used to click. So we did the click. So that will click on that field. So now, after clicking on that field, what is the next thing that we want to do? So how do we type to search something? So the next thing is we need to type the word weather, right? So that means we have to do the actions called type. Okay, so this method is used to type something on that element. So let's see, how do I do this? So after clicking, the next action is type something. So I'm going to say search box type. What do we want to type? We're going to type weather. So the next action that we are performing on that page is typing the word weather. What is the last action that we're doing? The last action that we're doing is press the enter button. How do we do this? We have to do keyboard.press enter. So this is the command that we are going to write. Again, the first command is click, the second command is type something, and the third command is to press the enter key. So let's first type. I think we already did the type, yes. The last actions we're going to do is keyboard.press. Now be careful, when we are pressing the enter button, we are not pressing the enter button based on the search box. We're just pressing the enter button. So it's coming from the page. Okay, so you're going to do page dot, whatever we said in the command, keyboard dot press. Okay, keyboard dot press. And what do we want to press? We want to press the enter key. That's what you're going to type. So also you need to add the await. So I'm going to add that. We will go over await later on to understand how or why we use that keyword. But again, there are three actions that we are performing on that element. First thing is click, then the second thing is type, the third thing is pressing the enter button. But the pressing the enter button doesn't depend on that search box, it's just coming from the page itself. Okay, you just press the enter key. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Let's see what this does. So I'm going to run this. So npx, looks like my terminal got a little messed up. So I'm going to just open another terminal, a new terminal. You can do that by going to terminal, a new terminal. And let's write the command npx playwright tests, and we're doing Google search dot spec .ts. And let's do this in headed mode. So we want to see if it is actually searching weather correctly. You can see that it did search weather and it closed right away. Okay, let's look at this on Edge. And let's look at this on WebKit. And you can see that it did typed weather. Since it's going too fast, you're not actually seeing that it pressed the enter key, but it did press the enter key. We'll add a wait time later on so that you can clearly see what happened, but looks like the code actually worked. Now, if you now check the title of the page, you can also do that by enabling that line of code. You can just do this way. Okay, and I'm gonna run this one more time to see what happens to the title. Is it still staying the same, or it is going to change? So let's run this one more time. So npx playwright test tests Google search.spec.ts headed. So just running this one more time just to see what happens to the title. Is it still staying the same, or is it changing? Okay, you can see that it did search, and it's now going to the second browser, did the search. Now it's going to the third one. And you can see that all test cases passed. Okay, so the title is still the same when you are done with the search. Okay, so that means our code properly did the search and stayed on that page, and it shows the same title. Okay, so it looks like it is working. So that is all about today's lecture. So we learned how clicking, typing, and pressing works. Just be careful that when you're using that pressing, it is not tied to an object of that page. You just press the enter key from the page. So you do page.keyboard, not searchbox.keyboard. If you try to do that, you may get an error. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, guys. Um, let's just quickly recap what we learned so far. So we learned how to navigate to a page using page.go-to and provide the link. So that's this one, page.go-to. So this is used for navigation. If you're going to a site, you do page.go-to. Second thing that we learned is testing the title. So we test that by using to have title. So whatever the title we're expecting, we provide that as a string, or it could be a substring. Next thing we learn is locator identification by title. So we use .get by title, which allows us to find an element to be so that we can interact with that element. After we are done finding the element using the locator techniques, which we learn is the .get by title, we can perform actions. So what are some of the actions? We did .click, we did .type, and we also learned how to press the enter key by doing keyboard.press enter. Okay, so this is recognized as the enter button. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it. Just have one exercise for you that we will cover next week. Pretty much the same thing that we did. You're gonna go to google.com. Instead of searching weather, you can try searching something else. For example, you can search for Playwright and just press the enter key to complete the search, and you can check the title as well. So I'm gonna just add that step here. Check the title. Okay, so that is exercise number 2. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.